On Friday in class, we went over each one of the stations and talked about whether it was a chemical or a physical change. And so today, um, for uh, your absent version of the assignment, I'm going to go through this Google form and tell you what they were to help you study for the quiz that you'll be taking at the end of this absent assignment. Okay, so the first one was crushing a sugar cube. Now, this one was a physical change. The reasons are pretty simple. It was made of sugar when you started, and it was made of sugar when you ended. Sugar cubes, it did not change composition by any means. Okay, the chemicals in it didn't change. It just went from a cube to the powder. You could also put it back very easily by just putting the sugar into a mold and pushing on it really hard. That's how sugar cubes are usually made. Okay, the second one is vinegar and baking soda. This one was pretty obviously a chemical change. You could tell this because there were bubbles that were formed. If you had been able to touch it, you would have felt that it got hot. And afterwards, it was cloudy. And then also, if you were in the room with it, it smelled like vinegar before you put the baking soda in. And then afterwards, it didn't smell like anything at all. So there was a smell change, bubbles formed, and heat. Next one was cutting up a paper towel. Now, if you were in class for this, we were cutting up steel wool, but we're going to change paper towels now. This one is a physical change because it's still a paper towel, still pieces of paper. You could hypothetically soak them in water and put them back together again and make more paper. It was a physical, some kids described it as a physical difference that you made, which was you physically used the scissors. You didn't like pour a chemical on it or mix anything together. So this would be described as a size or a shape difference because it's still the same amount of stuff that's there. It's just in a different formation. All right, number 4 was salt in water. This one really got people. The trick to knowing if this is physical or chemical is noticing that it was cloudy afterwards. Now, if the salt had completely mixed in and it was perfectly clear, it would be chemical. However, this is a physical change. Because it was cloudy, then you knew that there were little pieces of salt still in the water. So the salt just got into smaller pieces. It didn't actually combine with the water. You also know this because there are 2 ways that you can drink salt water. The first one is that you can boil it. You can boil all the salt, boil it out of the salt, boil the water out of the salt. The second one is that you can put it through a filter. So both of those things are physical things that you can do. Boiling is a physical change, and a filter would be a physical change. And so if you could undo it with a physical change, then it is a physical change. Station number 5 was this crayon melting. And it might have been kind of difficult to tell that it was crayon, but it was a crayon. And this is another physical change. It's a melting. Melting is always physical. Melting, boiling, freezing, whatever, phase changes like that. You could very easily pour that hot wax into a mold and make it look like a crayon again. It's still pink wax. It's just liquid pink wax. So, yeah, that one's a physical change. And then the last one is the reaction of cornstarch water and iodine. So this is not my video because I forgot to take a video of it for you guys, but the cornstarch and water is what you have initially, and then you add iodine to it, and it turns from white to purple. The fact that it made a color change tells you that it became a new chemical and therefore was a chemical change. All right, so I want you to watch the other video that is on Classroom, and then when you feel ready for it, take the quiz.